What makes a church sanctuary? It's not just the stone and mortar that compose the walls, the architect's drawings, or the hours of construction labor. It's the people, their stories, their vision, their transformation in the process of passing on a legacy. This is the story of Christ United Methodist Church living the legacy.
Christ United Methodist started with, I think, 5 or 6 families just meeting in a home, and they wanted to build a church. And what I think about, when I look back at that, I think that the vision that God had for this church was so much greater than the vision that the original founders had for it. Even when we relocated and moved over here in 1997, it's become so much more than we dreamed of even 13 years ago. Christ Church is really a church that has just kind of blossomed with God leading us into new areas, of innovative areas, especially missions and other ways of reaching out and serving other people.
These people step up and do what's right, and they're doing this for our kids and for our kids' kids, and to build this church so we can continue to serve the people of Plano.
The decision to build sustainably for this particular project started at the very beginning stages. Shauna Black, who's a member of our congregation and who worked at Texas Instruments at the time, went to Don and Jan and said, since you're building a new sanctuary, you need to build it sustainably. It's important for y'all to do that. And at the time, they didn't know what that meant. So she explained to them what they did at Texas Instruments and what it could mean to us here at CUMC. There's basically one voice at the beginning of the project to say, we should do differently. We should do something not just because what everyone else does. Don't look strictly at what the initial cost is of the project, but look at what the big picture is. And if you look at the big picture, we'll have 3 to 4 generations grow up in this church, and 7 to 8 generations touch this church. So it's important that we build in a fashion that lasts that long, and building sustainably does that.
I think that tells you that this congregation here has strong traditional values, but also is forward-thinking and contemporary in a lot of respects. When we were working on the design phase, we came up with a design that I think when you walk in, you will literally think it's a smaller sanctuary than the current one we're in. It is definitely warmer, with natural materials and warmer colors and woods, and that was all a major objective of the committees.
It's my hope that when people walk into our new sanctuary for the very first time, they will immediately have this sense of community, this sense of intimacy in this place. I also hope they have a feeling of being a part of a larger extended family that can make a difference in their lives as well as in the lives of others.
Well, when I walk out there on that church site and I see all the brick masons and the electricians and the plumbers and everybody, they all have that feeling. They all have that attitude about it. It's not just another building for them. They all recognize it. And probably when the stained glass windows went in, that's when it all hit them. They said, yep, this is different.
I think the fact that the congregation needed to move these windows from the present sanctuary to the new sanctuary was because they became so involved with the windows. When Dawn asked us to pick out a piece of glass, we became a piece of the window. We became a part of the window, and the windows became part of us. But I hope that they became more than that. When they wanted everything moved over there, I hope that the windows became part of our strength. They are so large. They portray a sense of strength that is unbelievable in my mind. I didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, they overwhelmed me when they were put up. And I think the strength that people get from them, and I think that when things are going wrong in your life, if you just come in and drink in that God's light coming through the windows, if you could just drink that in, maybe they will bring you peace, and maybe they will bring you hope. And most of all, I hope they bring everybody joy.
The stained glass windows that will be in this new sanctuary space were really a driving factor in not just the design of this building, but they were really a driving force in colors that were selected. They were a driving force in the wood tones that were selected, and they just took on almost a life of their own.
I felt we needed another cross in our church, and the committee did too. It was a round window. So as we looked through the hundreds of crosses, literally hundreds of crosses, I knew that I had to have an equal armed cross. Then I found the Jerusalem cross. And the Jerusalem cross has very many meanings, but the meaning that caught my eye was it is known as the mission cross. And how appropriate for our church at this point to have a cross that symbolizes mission. The center cross is the Mother Church. The 4 Greek crosses in the corners are the 4 corners of the world. We are the Mother Church reaching out to the 4 corners of the earth.